Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're looking into something pretty interesting about our knees, even if they feel totally fine. It comes from a new study, University of Oulu, using data from, that big northern Finland birth cohort from 1986.
Oh, yeah, the NFBC 86, a great resource.
Exactly. And the headline finding is kind of wild. MRI scans found early signs of knee joint changes in, get this, over half of 33-year-olds who had zero symptoms.
Yeah, zero knee pain or problems reported.
So today we're going to dig into what those changes actually are, what seems to be the main driver, and sort of what this might mean for thinking about joint health long term.
Sounds good. This study really gave us a unique look using MRI inside the knees of almost 300 people, average age around, 33 and a half?
Right.
And what's really fascinating, like you said, is just how common these structural changes were in people who weren't feeling a thing.
Just living their lives totally unaware. So what specifically did the MRIs pick up? What kind of, wear and tear are we talking about?
Well, the most common thing seen in over half the people was minor articular cartilage defects. That's the smooth stuff covering the bone ends.
Okay.
Especially in the joint between the kneecap and the thigh bone, the patellofemoral joint.
Ah, right behind the kneecap.
Exactly. And then about a quarter of them also had similar cartilage changes in the main knee joint, the tibiofemoral, between the shin bone and thigh bone.
Still significant, though, quarter.
Definitely. And another thing, small bone spurs osteophytes, they popped up in over half as well. Generally small, but still they were there.
Wow. So these kinds of things are happening, silently. But the study didn't just spot these changes, did it? They linked it to something.
They did, yeah. They found a pretty clear link between these early knee changes and higher body mass index, BMI.
Okay, so wait.
Weight, specifically. One of the researchers, Juna Tapio, was quoted saying that weight in particular seems to be associated with structural changes. Height didn't really factor in much. It really kind of underscores how managing weight could be important, maybe even preventative, for joint health down the line.
A clear message, then. Weight matters, even early on, before you feel pain. Now, MRI tech is getting better, right? Picking up smaller things. How should doctors think about this?
That's a really important point. Another researcher on the study, Ante Kampanen, made a point about this.
Okay.
He stressed that, MRI is great at spotting even tiny osteoarthritis-like changes, but we have to be careful. You can't just react to every little thing on a scan, especially if the person feels fine.
Right, avoid over-treating based just on an image.
Exactly. He compared it to, lower back scans, where you often see things that aren't actually causing the person's pain. You need the whole picture.
The clinical context. Sticking to the guidelines.
Precisely. The scan finding itself doesn't automatically mean, problem or needs treatment.
That makes sense. And it loops back to the fact that most people in this study had no symptoms at all, which really drives home that point, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. These changes can clearly be there, sort of progressing quietly, long before we might feel anything.
A silent phase.
Yeah, and that's why the researchers are saying, look, we need longer-term studies. We need to follow these people and see how these early changes actually progress over time. What makes them get worse, what doesn't.
Gotcha. So, pulling it all together, this study reveals, maybe surprisingly, that early signs of knee wear are pretty common in young adults, people in their early 30s.
Even with no pain.
And that higher BMI seems to be a really significant factor linked to these changes.
Exactly. It certainly makes you think about what might be happening under the surface, even when things feel okay.
It really does. And that leads to a kind of interesting question for you listening.
Yeah.
Given these findings, and it doesn't matter if you have knee pain right now or not, what sort of proactive things might actually help support your knee joints for the long haul? Definitely some food for thought there. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.